All praise, all glory, all honor, most certainly due to the Most High, the God of the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Peace to you in the name of Jesus. This is your brother, Israel of the household of faith. And I count it truly a blessing each and every time that I come before you to preach the word of God, and never ever do I count it as a light thing to do so. Just a little bit about the household of faith. We meet every Sabbath, which is Saturday, at 5925 West 25th Avenue, Gary, Indiana. 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. We invite you to come out and worship with us where you get the uncut, unadulterated word of God. This is our permanent location. So if you're in our area, come on out. In addition, if you're not in our area, we live stream right here on the Israel Teach YouTube channel. Again, that's every Sabbath, which is Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can also go to our website at www.israelteach.org and listen to the live stream service there as well. All right, brothers and sisters, I want to get right to today's lesson. And the title is Marriage, the First Covenant. Marriage, the First Covenant. Marriage, brothers and sisters, is the start. The marriage, first of all, a marriage between a man and a woman is the start of a true family. Family is the building block of all of society. Families make households, make communities ultimately make societies, and they make up the nation. And when there is confusion concerning marriage, brothers and sisters, then that's like a cancer within the body. Okay? Quite frankly, the institution of marriage has been under assault. Starting with many of the years during the Obama administration, President Obama administration, when you're talking about same-sex marriage. But that's not the only way it's being assaulted. It's being assaulted because it's not being valued in general. The reasons in which people get into it in the first place, people not understanding their roles within the marriage. Brothers and sisters, any institution in society, any institution, whether you're talking about a corporation, whatever it is, has members. And those members within it have a role to play. But because of a variety of reasons, because of whether you're talking about feminism, or you're talking about the result of the free love movement, we're talking about the perpetuation of same-sex marriage. People don't understand marriage. They don't understand their role. And ultimately, society is in trouble. Okay? But like anything else, when it comes to what's going on in society, if you want insight into it, you can go right here to the Holy Bible and find out just what you are supposed to be doing when it comes to marriage. Okay? Because there's order to everything. So we want to start off in the verse sheet. We want to start off in Genesis. And I'm going to pick it up at Genesis chapter 1. And I'm going to pick it up at verse, Genesis chapter 2. And I'm going to pick it up at verse 7. So it says, "And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul." Man does not have a soul inside of him. You are the soul. Okay? Then it says, "And the Lord God planted a garden eastward in the evening day, he put the man whom he had formed." Okay, so this is the beginning of mankind. Okay? Here you have Adam, but he is by himself. Then it says something in verse 15. Not verse 15. Verse 18. It says, "And the Lord God said," well, first of all, I can't read verse 15 because it says, "And the Lord God took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it." So he was there. He had purpose. He had work to do. Okay, that's the man. Then it says in verse 18, "And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make an help meet for him." I'm going to make a help meet or fitting for him. a partner. Notice it didn't say, I'm going to make his head. I'm going to make his boss. I'm going to make his equal even. It said, I'm going to make a helpmeet for him. So he brings all these animals to Adam, and he names them. Verse 20, it says, and Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam, there was not found an helpmeet for him. So even amongst all the animals that he named, showing that he had dominion, there was not an helpmeet found amongst animals for Adam. You know, you have the saying that man's best friend is dog. The dog is the man's best friend. Well, no, as loyal as a dog may be, that's not the help fit for him. Now it says in verse 21, and the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. So now he performs surgery on Adam, takes his rib. I believe the reason why he took his rib, it doesn't expound on this here. But one thing we know about the rib, brothers and sisters, is that the rib grows back. When your rib is removed, it is regenerative, meaning it can literally grow back. So here you see science in the Bible, and he put him to sleep. Anesthesiologist. The first surgery here. Well, you had even in the Civil War, you had to have something amputated, and they did surgery. They get you drunk or just start cutting on you while you wide awake. But here you see the wisdom of God. But it says, in the rib which the Lord God had taken from man, made he a woman and brought her unto the man. Because the whole thing was making a help fit or a meat for him, right? So he doesn't notice and understand. Now he made a man. He didn't take a rib and make another man. Rather, he made his opposite. He made his counterpart, which was woman. Okay, so he opened up man, brought out the woman. Okay, so when people talk about, because you got this doctrine here that when they say the black woman is God, and that, well, we have the potential to be God. All of us, we were made in the image and likeness of God, but understand that man came first. Okay, man came first, and the woman was taken out of Adam and brought unto the man to be a help meet for him. So from the very beginning, you understand the purpose. Man, he had his purpose, and then to fulfill his purpose, the woman was given unto him. Why is this important? Because you look at many marriages today, and there's confusion about this particular issue. There's confusion because, quite frankly, men don't know their role and what they're supposed to be doing, and therefore women don't know their role and what they're supposed to be. A woman is made as an helpmeet for man. Let's go to, I'm still in Genesis. I want to pick it up in Genesis. I just want to read something. Chapter 4. Genesis chapter 4 and verse 1. I just want to read something here. Hold on one second. Actually, I want to read something he told them. Genesis chapter 1. Yeah, chapter 1. Genesis chapter 1 and verse 27. It reads, Genesis chapter 1 and verse 27 reads, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. So man is made in the image of God. We are not made in it like angels, okay? In the image of angels. We were made in the image of our Creator, the Most High. Then it says in verse 28, and God blessed them. And God said unto them, so now we're about to read the first commandment given to man. It says, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. What does it mean to replenish? It means to fill this earth with your seed. And the only way you do that is through intercourse. Bring forth fruit. Bring forth children. But do it how? We understand that it was under the confines of marriage. See, and I want to read, I want to go to Genesis 4 and just read something here. Because and Adam knew Eve, his wife. Right? So this is his wife. Not just some side piece. Not just some, as these young people say, jump off. But rather his wife. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived. And bare Cain and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. Because they went about doing what he had commanded. But let's go to the book of Malachi. Because ultimately you see the purpose of this union. Malachi chapter 2. Malachi chapter 2. And here we see something pertaining to marriage and the purpose. Okay? And here the prophet writes in verse 13, and this have ye done, in chapter 2, verse 13 of Malachi, and this have ye done. Again, covering the altar of the Lord with tears, weeping, and with crying out, insomuch that he regarded not the offering anymore, or received it with goodwill at your hand. So now he's not trying to hear you. He's telling, the prophet is telling him, listen, he's not trying to hear you, and he tells you why. It says, yet ye say, wherefore? Or why? Why is he not hearing you? I'm doing all this crying. Why is he not hearing? It says, because the Lord has been witness between thee and the wife of thy youth. So now the Lord knows what happened between you and the wife of your youth. It said, against whom thou hast dealt treacherously. So now you've dealt treacherously with the wife of your youth. He said, nevertheless, he said, yet is she thy companion and the wife of thy covenant. See, marriage is a covenant, brothers and sisters. It is a covenant. It is even a blood covenant. We'll talk about that in a second. And here he tells you why he brought you together. It says, and did not he make one? Right? He made them one. They one flesh. Meaning they're on one accord. One unit, one body. It says, yet had he the residue of the Spirit, and wherefore one? Oh, why did he make them one? It says that he might seek a godly seed. See, when you understand ultimately that this is the purpose for marriage, to bring forth seed, to bring forth fruit that has the attributes of both who are one, right? We were made in the image and the likeness of God. You were to leave father and mother and come to your wife, and you two were to dwell as one flesh, ultimately to create a godly seed, right? Not just any seed, because you see that right now. We procreate, right? And we just making anything. Lawless seeds, trifling seeds, bastard seeds. He said he wanted a godly seed. In the institution of marriage, this is the best way in which children are reared. Two people in a covenanted union, bringing forth children and raising these children in the admonition of the Lord, in line with the law, statutes, and commandments of God. Right? He wants a godly seed. See, what you have right now, you have households being created, and they are dysfunctional households. Why? Because oftentimes there's no marriage. What you have is somebody, they dealing with each other for a certain amount of time, having a baby, the man's gone, that woman is left there to fend for herself. In her mind, thinking she mama and daddy. I'm gonna tell you right now, you're not mama and father. You're not mama and daddy. What you are is you are a woman, right? In a bad situation. You bringing up children who need a father, right? That's ultimately what he set for. Let's go and see. You shouldn't be Let's go to Exodus. You shouldn't be with somebody who's not your husband. See, he wanted ultimately, brothers and sisters, he wanted us to be married. I said Exodus. And sex was not supposed to be going on outside of the confines of marriage. Okay? So now this is Exodus, the 22nd chapter and verse 16. Exodus 22 and verse 16. It says, peace to you, Cruz. It says, and if a man entices a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. Okay, so what does it mean to entice? Ultimately, there's some seduction there, and this man entices this man who's not betrothed. Betrothed would mean, in our context today, cultural context today, it'd be like someone who's about to be married, right? But they haven't gone through fully the consummation of the marriage. It's just been we're going to get there. Like Miriam and Joseph, or Mary and Joseph, who Mary was betrothed to Mary. She was betrothed to Joseph, right? So, but that's a see. We break that, even we break the marriage union like it's nothing but in American culture, American Western society, period. But you see, even that was considered very serious. And as we continue to read, you'll understand that. So it says, and if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. Okay, what does that mean? It means he had to go about the steps to make her his wife. Okay, because he's actually jumped the gun. Now, I heard this. What I heard this referred to somebody online talking about this today. They said, "Hey, when you lay with somebody, that's your wife." No, that does not make them your wife. That's not even what this is saying. So they read this verse and then said, see, that just means she your wife automatically. That's not true. It says he shall surely endow her to be his wife. See, you're not technically the wife. You're not technically married then just because you lay with somebody. It says, if her father utterly refused to give her unto him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins. See, like I said, you've already jumped the gun and not doing what the father, not dealing with the father, going about it the right way, because ultimately a woman is under a man when she's in her father's house, and then she's under a man's authority when she goes into her husband's house. That's how it is. That's why even still today, people, they will take on the last name of their husband, right? Which even people trying to hyphenate, we're trying to hyphenate their name, I guess, because this is people calling it a patriarchy, but it's really not a patriarchy anymore. It's really not. But I'm talking about Western, particularly American culture. But nevertheless, they would take the hyphen, put the hyphen in, put your name on it. I wish one would tell me, okay, yeah, I'm married, but I want to put a hyphen on my name. Now you keep that. You keep your last name. If you ain't gonna take my last name, keep your own. I had a relative that, let me tell you what she did. Tell you how out the box people are and not understanding when it comes to marriage and just the word of God. She hyphenated her name, but she's been married to two men. She hyphenated the name from the second husband unto the first husband. So she has a first name, and then she has the two husbands. The first husband hyphen, then the second husband last name. Why he went for that? No idea. So it says, now if the father utterly refused to give her unto him, because again, you're supposed to go to the father. You're not supposed to see, you weren't supposed to be dealing with this woman. Just all willy-nilly. No, now you done dealt with it. Now you gotta go to the Father and pay, you know, and if he don't want to give you her, then you have to pay the dowry of virgin. See, they dealt with dowry, which was a payment, right? And she was supposed to be a virgin. Right? So, and you can ultimately, you see a lot of things in this. You see that one was supposed to be a virgin. Number two, she was under her father's authority. Number three, you weren't supposed to just having sex all willy-nilly. Ultimately, if you did, you're supposed to marry that person. And see, that right there lets you know how God feels about it. That lets you know how God feels about it. Let's go to Deuteronomy. People have totally and just to show you, see, that woman was supposed to be a virgin, like I said, because that's totally not even considered today. These women and women in particular, are having sex by the time they 15, 16 years old. If they get married by the time they 26, 27, they got a whole body count. Now, when you think about that, this is crazy. People that's acceptable in this hypersexual, immoral culture, right? Now, a man will go and say, "Oh, I'm gonna marry this woman," right? Who've been with 30 men, right? But that same man won't drink after somebody. Somebody got a Coke and they won't drink after them, but you're gonna go after 30 men. That don't make any sense. Let me show you something here in Deuteronomy 22. And we're gonna pick it up at verse 13. Deuteronomy 22 and verse 13. See, we are operating, even those who call themselves in the word, we totally been, our minds have been brainwashed and we have been totally indoctrinated with Western culture, which quite frankly is a death culture. Whether you're talking about homosexuality or the porneia that's going on, you're talking about a society that deals in pornography and just hypersexualization, bestiality, all these things. The thing, many of the things that the Lord warned us not to be engaged in, right? We had our own culture. Let's see this here. This is Deuteronomy 22, and we're going to pick it up in verse 13. It says, if any man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her, and give her cases of speech against her, and bring up an evil name upon her, and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid. Now, what does he say? He said, hey, listen, when I came to this woman, consummate this marriage, because ultimately, like I said, it was a blood covenant. Ultimately, you can have an agreement, which is a covenant, but then you had a consummation, right? Which is that first intercourse. Now, that lets you know something right there about same-sex marriage. How do two men consummate a marriage? Did that make any sense? You violating divine law, natural law, you've lost your mind. But then it says, then shall the father. So now this man, he took this wife, and he doesn't want her. Now he's raised up a charge against. He said, hey, listen, she wasn't made, meaning she was not a virgin. See, a woman, when she's come to be married, she was supposed to be a virgin. Then it says, then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city and the gates. What's the tokens of the virgin's virginity? The tokens is a sign that she wasn't a virgin, because that was the bed sheet that was placed under them when they first consummated the marriage. So when that hymen was broken, that would flow on that sheet, and they would have that, and that was considered honorable. It's cultures that still even deal in this today. Because again, you were supposed to be a virgin. You weren't supposed to be out doing any and everything. But that's promoted in society today. It's promoted on television. It's promoted in the movies. It's promoted even in the schools. Even in the schools. It's promoted everywhere. Right? You watching TV. I remember that was one thing. Wrap It Up. That was Wrap It Up campaign, right? And BET. Back when I was coming, I don't even know. I don't watch BET. I don't know if they still had that campaign. They probably don't. Wrap It Up. How about Be Holy? How about Sit Your Monkey Behind Down? How about Wait Until Marriage? No, that wasn't the message. See, they tell you that that's unreasonable. But then when AIDS is running rampant, when 1 out of 2 African American females, teenage females have an STD, and 1 out of 4 of all female teenagers have an STD. When you got AIDS in Atlanta, it's like a third world country. The CDC right there in Atlanta, right? Oh, that's unreasonable. What's unreasonable is for you to not understand that there are built-in consequences for inappropriate behavior. So it says, now the father and the damsel's father, verse 16, and the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hated her. And lo, he had given occasions of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter a maid. And yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. He said, hey, listen, this man I gave my daughter unto said, hey, he raised up this speech against her, saying she's not a virgin. But here's the proof. And he shows this to the elders. Right? And see, the elders were there. See, again, people operate in a lot of kind of ways. Like even today, when people talk about marriage and what they want to do, right? And how they talk about how Western, in the West, things and monogamy and whatever you want to say about marriage today, ultimately, brothers and sisters, they are actually the ones, when you get a contract, the state is the one that's regulating marriage. See, we had elders, not a church organization, right? Because we still not even functioning as a nation. We had elders, judges, etc., that would judge matters. That's what you do when you're sovereign. Right? So now they are going to make a judgment. So now it says, here are the tokens, and yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity, and they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city. So now he's showing it to them. And the elders of that city shall take that man and chastise him. Right? See, they had something in order to regulate marriage. Why am I saying this? Because people are out here right now, even in the again, that phrase, in the word, and they talking about marriage, they doing different things, right? They saying, well, you don't need no marriage license for whatever you say. My question to you, because quite frankly, it's a raw deal. You get a third party into your marriage, and it's definitely a problem. It's definitely a problem. But my question is, okay, so who regulates that situation? It has to be some type of regulation. And what I say is a problem. It's a problem when you go to the court. And that's why I said earlier, it's not a patriarch, it's a matriarch. You find that out if you go to these courts. That it is total bias against men in the court. That's just reality. When you look at who pays child support, right? When you look at who pays alimony, right? When you look at who gets custody of children, when you look at the whole situation, it's set up for families to fail. But nevertheless, so they chastised them in verse 19, and they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver and give him unto the father of the damsel, because he hath brought up an evil name upon the virgin of Israel. See, that was an honorable thing to be a virgin of Israel, right? But that's not what we're honoring in society today, right? Amongst our people in particular, we need to get back to righteous laws and righteous ways, righteous morals and customs, brothers and sisters. We need to, and this actually should start, because you talking about it needs to start with the children, right? And quite frankly, it'll be hard to start with the children. What I mean, I'm talking about promoting abstinence until marriage. It's going to be hard to do that if you put them in these schools. Because in these schools, the underground curriculum, the curriculum of the children, elementary, junior high, they're dealing in sexual behavior. They getting a curriculum that's teaching them about homosexuality. Curriculum that's promoting all these raunchy ideas, quite frankly. So you're going to put them in there for 8 hours a day. Right? They got the curriculum from the school, and then they had the curriculum from the students within the school. Right? They all having sex. They all for the most part all Christians, but they not following anything that the book says. So I say you have to start with the children because many adults have totally gone astray, have lived their lives in a way in which that was totally immoral when it comes to sexuality. They didn't know, or they didn't operate in better knowledge. Whatever it may be, they didn't know. So you have to start that with the next generation, and you have to really, men have to start, in particular, valuing and cherishing modesty, valuing and cherishing, promoting honor amongst women. Really, and really, I said men need to instead of placing honor on promiscuity and upholding the Instagram model. Why not uphold the modest woman? Why not uphold the woman who kept herself until marriage? And why not do that? That's what we need to have. Really, I said they start with men, but in that regard, they do have to start with women. But women, men need to say that, to co-sign that, if you will, and say, well, this is what needs to be done. Right? In order to do that, it will help if fathers were in the home. And you can't have a double standard. Right? Between what I mean by a double standard, I mean, ultimately, we had this idea that these young people supposed to be having, the boys supposed to be having sex 15, 16, y'all, that's fine. And then girls, it's even changing now. That was when I was growing up. Now it's changing. Because like I said earlier, with feminism, hey, y'all do what y'all do. Just be safe. You doing something that's reserved for two married individuals. Why? To bring forth a godly seed. How you gonna bring? What you bringing forth? A godly seed and some fornication. See? And then people don't realize, particularly women, because you're not realizing that you have made yourself really unqualified to be a wife. That sounds harsh, but it is what it is. When you talk about if you going about what the book is saying, look how it's talking about. Hey, one time was one too many outside of the confines of marriage. Listen to this. It says, but if this verse 19, it says, and they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver and give them unto the father of the damsel, because he had brought up an evil and upon a virgin of Israel. And she shall be his wife. He may not put her away all his days. So he couldn't divorce his woman all his days. Yo, she's going to be your wife. You lied on this woman. Right? They chastised him, put this fine on him. They had to get to the father. And he said, hey, you can't get rid of her. You can't put her away. It said, but if this thing be true and the tokens of virginity be not found for the damsel, meaning if it was true that she was not a man, because ultimately, brothers and sisters, back then, he was like, I don't know. Wow, you wouldn't even just marry somebody that's been with somebody else. That's crazy. When you, from this perspective, from this cultural lens, that's crazy. And it is crazy. You think about all these men, right, from 16 to 27, with 30 men, now you're gonna say to women, okay, now I want you gonna take care of me, I'm gonna be just with you, and he said, okay. But you done had all these, that's crazy. That's what I'm saying. We've gone totally astray. And bringing children into this nonsense, right? Bringing children into this nonsense. Do you know after slavery, after all the things, how we were abused and the thing, bred like cattle, all the things they did with us in slavery, right after slavery, you know, approximately 90% of all our children were born in wedlock. But now 70+% of women have their children, black women have their children outside of wedlock. See, we've totally gone astray. But it said, if the thing be true, it said, verse 21, then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones that she die, because she have wrought folly in Israel. See, this is folly to be dealing in this way. And it says, to play the whore in her father's house. So shalt thou put evil away from among you. Okay? So now, if she would, he called her a whore. That's why I said you have disqualified yourself from being a wife. From this standard. So you got people that come into the knowledge of the truth, then they find out how they're supposed to be living and they live according to it. Right? That's all you can do. But the generation that's coming after you, they should have this standard. Like, I'm not saying go and stone somebody. What I'm saying is that should be the standard. Virginity until marriage. And it's coaches that do that. It's coaches that do that. We've lost it. Verse 22, if a man be found lying with a woman married to an husband, then they shall both of them die. Right? So the adulterer and the adulteress were supposed to die. That's why when they brought the adulteress to Jesus, to the Messiah, they said, hey, listen, we caught her in the very act. He's just writing on the ground. You know, the law said it's stone. What say he said he that had, who was without sin, let him cast the first stone. Why? Because, brothers and sisters, if you call her in the very act, then where's the adulterer? But you only brought the woman, showing your unrighteous judgment. See, you can't stop. You go stone somebody. You're not even applying the law properly, and then and they were all convicted. They had their own sins, and they get out of here. But you see what it was supposed to be. So this is very, very serious, right? You Negroes writing songs now talking about me and Mrs. Jones. Got a thing going on. You and Mrs. Jones are supposed to be stoned. It said, if a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed unto a husband, there's that word betrothed again, right? So if now you betrothed, then that means like engaged, and a man find her in the city and lie with her, they shall bring them both out to the gate of that city, and ye shall stone them with stones that they die. Again, even if you were in deal with somebody's, what they would call today fiance, you would be stoned, both of them. It says, they shall stone them with, and ye shall stone them with stones that they die. The damsel because she cried not, being in the city, and the man because he had humbled his neighbor's wife. So shalt thou put away evil from among you. Okay? Then it tells you, I'm going to skip down to verse 28. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, like what we read in Exodus 22. And she shall be his wife because he hath humbled her. Then it says something. He may not put her away all his days. Okay? So now, that's telling you some regulation about marriage. Right? Let's go to Deuteronomy 24. Right in Deuteronomy 24. Because here you see divorce. We're going to see some things about that. Like right now, you know, divorce rates are sky high for the first marriage, and second and third marriage, it goes even higher. You know, what was it, 70%? I believe your third marriage, second marriage, and then it's last one I read. But oftentimes it's been that 50%, going a little bit lower than that, a little bit higher than that in the United States. I read one a little 40%, but still that's sky high. But nevertheless, in Deuteronomy 24 says, when a man, in verse 1, when a man have taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it her hand and send her out of his house. So that was the process. He would write a bill of divorcement and he would send this woman out of his house. Then it says, and when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife. Okay? Now he couldn't just send out of her house without a bill of divorcement. If he did that, then technically she couldn't be another man's wife. But then it says something I want to just point out. It says, and if the latter husband hate her and write a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send her out of his house, and if the latter husband died, which took her to be his wife, her former husband which sent her away may not take her again to be his wife. You can't. I had another relative. I'm a relative today. Had another relative, married a woman, fine woman, quality, character. You know, I don't know what he was thinking. Got divorced, tried to find a woman look just like her. Leave her, then go back and marry. You can't. If she go and be another man's wife, you can't go back to do that. It says her former husband will send her away, may not take her again to be his wife. After that, she is defiled, for that is abomination before the Lord. And thou shalt not cause the land to sin, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance. But ultimately, brothers and sisters, if he brought y'all together, right? God put together, let no man put asunder, right? Have you not read, he made them one, right? And one flesh. Ultimately, you need to really be working these things. One thing it tells you, you should infer is that you should not go into marriage lightly. If you think about it, if the person you lay with, you're supposed to die, that person to be your wife. You shouldn't go into this thing like you should really take heed to who you're dealing with. Let's go to 1 Corinthians. I want to go to the 6th chapter. Matter of fact, hold on before I go there. Let me just read something here in Proverbs. Proverbs. The 31st chapter. Because ultimately, what kind of woman should you be looking for if you're a man? Proverbs 31 and verse 10. It said, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. So you can't really put a value on this, but understand this is rare. He said, who can find one? Meaning they're not that common. But that's what you want to be looking for. The heart of a husband does safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. Right? So then he goes on to talk about all her attributes. And it says, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, in verse 30. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. And ultimately, see, I talked about a standard of what you should. I said, why not honor modesty? Right? Why not honor character? Right? Why not? See, the women that are like this amongst our people should get honor. But what do we uphold? We uphold, like I said, Instagram model. We uphold the woman that's in and out of bed with any and everybody. They the ones that we uphold. They the ones. Why are we as a people honoring them? They don't deserve honor, because what they're doing is not honorable. It's dishonorable. So as a man, it would behoove you to find a woman that is what? That is fearful of God. That's what you would want. Let's go to I just want to go pick it, verse 4, Proverbs 14 and verse 1. It said, every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. Right? So you want a wise woman that fears God, that's operating in righteousness. Let's go to Genesis, because that's what you would want. If you're a man, that's what you should be looking for. He says something, beauty is vain. And it ultimately is deceitful. Because ultimately, you get whatever you consider beautiful. Okay, ultimately, at a certain point, you're going to have a conversation. What if it's beauty and no brains? See, if she's not wise, she's going to tear down anything you're supposed to be building as a man. What if she's not honoring God? So you're trying to honor God and she doing the complete opposite. That's not what you want. Let's go to Genesis. So what kind of attributes do you want to find in a man if you are a woman? Ultimately, this is something you should pay attention to. I'm not advocating you go out and search and do anything. But nevertheless, this is Genesis. And I'm going to pick it up at Genesis chapter, Genesis chapter 29. And this is verse 16. It says, and Laban had two daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. And Jacob loved Rachel and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter. Right? And Laban said, it is better that I gave her to thee than that I should give her to another man. Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years with Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days for the love he had to her. See, one thing about it, you should understand as a woman, if a man indeed cares for you, he's going to do what he needs to do. And you have to prove yourself. See, you got women just going for lies. And a lot of times, you don't have, first of all, you need a barrier there, which is your father. You see how he went to the father? You need a barrier there, but the father's absent, protection is absent. You looking for love in all the wrong places, as they say. So Knuckle, Junebug, a Tyrone, right? A Tion, or whatever his name is, come spit in that game. Now you lost to Virginia at 16 years old. And you didn't believe the lies he said, right? He didn't let you no covenant, no means to take care of you or himself or baby that you have. Then you got an abortion or you've been defiled. Then he dealing with other girls. You ain't the only one. You come to find out, now your heart broke. Tion really don't love you. Then you continue that process on and on and on and on and on. Till you about 28, you got 2 kids, no husband, and now you're looking for somebody to clean up your mess. You're looking for a simp somewhere. You're looking for one somewhere. That needs to stop. People not talking about that. That needs to stop. But that's glorified in these movies, in these black movies, right? You see Tyler Perry, you done made all kind of mistakes, and then here come this Negro on like a knight with shining armor, gonna come and save you from all these mistakes. When in actuality, what usually happens is you end up by yourself because you have wasted yourself and defiled yourself in your younger years. Or you got men who are dealing with women they ain't got no business dealing with. They not doing what they supposed to do. They not understanding that what they supposed to do in their household, right? And you bringing kids into all your mess. Let's go to 1 Corinthians. But you let a man prove himself. Because he'll say anything. They'll say anything to get what they want. But if it's true, it'll be shown. Let's go to 1 Corinthians. Pick it up at verse. Just to show, matter of fact, I'm gonna pick it up at 7, just to show you the significance of this thing. It says in verse 1, it says, "Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman." Now, this is Paul talking, right? He said, "Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, that every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband." Then it says, "Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband." It said, "The wife hath not power of her own body, but the husband, and likewise also the husband hath not power of his own body, but the wife." Right? So now he said, hey, to avoid this inappropriate behavior, this fornication that you see him running rampant, people jumping in and out of bed, they changing partners like they change drawers, right? And it's not a big it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal in the eyes of God. It says when you are married, it said the wife have not power of her own body, but the husband, and likewise also the husband have not power of his own body, but the wife. So you're not supposed to be depriving your spouse of sex. Then it says, "Defraud ye not one another, except you be with consent for a time." Meaning, if y'all are gonna refrain, let it be for a certain time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, time to focus on God. It says, "And come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency, because of your lack of self-control." Again, talking about relatives. I have a relative. His wife, he got married, and what they did, she moved her mother in. Which, okay, but then here's what she did. She allowed her mama, she moved her mama in and allowed her mama to get in between their marriage. See, you're not supposed to do that. What's ever going on between you and your man, you're not supposed to bring other people. That ain't even their business. I don't care if it's your mom or your father. It ain't their business. And what she did was she said, "Let me tell you how to control this Negro. Let me tell you. What you need to do is don't give him none." 2 years. 2 years. Nothing. Young couple, 2 years. You want to control them? No, just do that. So she did. She took her mama's advice. You think that lasted long? No, he married to somebody else. He married to somebody else. And she ain't married and ain't gonna get married. Why do I say that? Because statistics show she probably not. She's reached an age, right? Well, she's probably not gonna get married. Single, 2 kids, but see, and I'm not saying everything he did was right, because what did he do? He said, "Forget this, I'm out," and he started dealing with some idiot everybody. Right? So it says, it talks about incontinency. So he said, "Let's say tempt you for your lack of self-control." You're not supposed to do that. But you see people try to control other people in that way. You're not supposed to do that. So it says, "For I would that all men were even as myself," meaning he was a self-made unit. He didn't have a wife. Like Jesus didn't have a wife. It says, "But every man hath this proper gift of God, one after this manner and another after that." That's not everybody's gift. Everybody can't do that. Then it says, "I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them that if they abide even as I." But we should understand, if everybody abide as he did, then you won't have what happened to be fruitful and multiply. Everybody's not gonna do that. That's just like now you got men today talking about what they see really with marriage in Western culture. It's becoming less and less beneficial for men. So you got men running around here saying, "I'm not going to deal with women, period, I'll be by myself." Well, you just not dealing with women, period. What happened? Again, be fruitful and multiply. It said, "But if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn." You understand? take heed. Let's go to 2 Corinthians, the 6th chapter. 2 Corinthians, the 6th chapter. Because who should be coming together to be married? 2 Corinthians, the 6th chapter. 2 Corinthians, the 6th chapter. And we're going to pick it up at verse 14. Because here's another mistake that people make. You think, and like always, you see this out of people in the world in general. And quite frankly, well, you see it amongst both too. You see men who will try to be with a woman who you're going to try to make this woman into something she's not. What I mean by that, you're going to try to make a woman who used to just dealing with men, now you're going to make her a housewife like in the 1950s. A wholesome housewife. No, that's not what she used to. If she ain't got a mindset at the time, you can't change it. What you're going to do is you're going to make a mess. And then you have people in general, they want to be married, right? They understand, okay, if I have to live a righteous life, I gotta be married, right? So I'm gonna marry somebody who does not know God, who's not dealing with God. Well, that's a recipe for disaster. You can do, again, to quote something from Tyler Perry movie, I believe it's not from him, but I know it's in one of them terrible movies. I can do bad all by myself. You can do bad all by yourself. Why? Because you're inviting turmoil and conflict. See, ultimately, brothers and sisters, what people need to do in reality is get right themselves with God, and then if the circumstances takes place where somebody is on the same level and it works out, you don't want to force something. You don't want to force something because you're gonna make a mess. And you got people perpetrating, acting like I believe just so they can get married. Then next thing you know, you ready to go? You ready for service? The Sabbath? No, I ain't going. They ain't trying to deal with the Sabbath. Hey, so where you going? Well, Big Mama going to Big Mama's house. They're having a Christmas party. What? So everything you doing, you at home, you fasting on the Day of Atonement. They come in the house with a pork chop, catfish, shrimp sandwich, eating in your face. I'm joking, but that's reality. Is now you have made a mess of your home, right? Why do that? And he tells you here, he gives you some advice. 2 Corinthians 6 and verse 14, he said, be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. Why would you do that? Why would you go into a covenant agreement like marriage with somebody who don't believe the same thing you believe? You see that? I talk to people all the time. I say, man, what? They say, oh yeah, they one of them is they married, one of them Catholic, one of the other something else. Like, how y'all even operate? But that's some foolishness anyway. But when you're dealing with truth, it's too much to be done. How are you going to worship properly and then they know what they want to do? Now, granted, Paul talks about if you already married and they be content to stay with you, etc. Okay, and you never know. They might turn and be more vigilant rather than you. You don't know. But I'm talking about when you first entering in, you don't want to. Why would you enter in? Because you want to be married, right? I want to be married. I'm lonely. Listen, you got guys, you ain't lonely, and people need to really. That's one thing I do know about myself. I'm content with myself. That's one thing. Probably too much, but you really need that though. You really need that. Let's go to Ephesians. Let's see. Ephesians, the 5th chapter, and this is it. Ephesians, the 5th chapter. Peace to you, Brother Jeff and the Black Messiah, Peace to you. Ephesians, this is the last place. Because here we see the order of things. It says Ephesians 5 and verse 22. So what is the order? So now you know what's supposed to be happening prior to being married. You understand who should get married. Now we want to find out the qualities to look for, characteristics in a spouse. Now we want to find out what's the order. See, in any institution, brothers and sisters, there is order. So people get married and they don't understand the order and they're making a mess. This is Ephesians 5 and verse 22. It says, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. And this is a hard one. This is a hard pill to swallow for a lot of women. Right? But this is what it says nevertheless. I've heard women say, I'll submit to the man as long as I agree with what he's saying. That's not submission. You submit in that case, and then what if you don't agree? Then I'm not submitting. You're not believing what you just said. But this is what the order is. Again, it says, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husband. It says, as unto the Lord. Like you following God, you need to be following your husband. It said, for the husband is the head of the wife. He is the CEO. He is the head of that corporation. There's no 50-50. People talk about 50-50. We're going to do it 50-50. You've never seen that. Again, in any institution, in any business, whatever it is, you've never seen total 50-50. You've never seen it in any relationship, total 50-50. I got 50% authority. No, that's not how it works. And right now, again, in this day and age, in the age of feminism, which is totally antithetical in almost every facet, I'm talking because there are many various definitions of feminism, but the general tenets of feminism are antithetical to the word of God. Because it promotes a matriarch, and really, this is a patriarchal book. It says, for the husband is the head of the wife. And a woman is supposed to submit to her husband, but then you say that and you are archaic. I'm not submitting to no man. That's what he made you to be to help me, though we read that earlier. Then it says, even as Christ is the head of the church and he is the savior of the body. So now he likened it to the relationship between Christ and his church. Just like the church is supposed to submit to Christ. It said, therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so men, you're supposed to bring your bodies to subjection to what God says. We see that as a sin, but then, well, wife said, I'm not doing nothing my husband said. Forget him. You don't know what you're doing. Then it says, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. I'm going to submit as long as I agree. No, I said everything. But then it says some of the husbands. That husbands many times don't understand. It said, husbands, love your wives even as Christ also loved the church. What did he do? He provided for the church. Then it says, even as, so it says, husbands, love your wives even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for. He sacrificed for his church. So now if you think about it, if a husband is loving his wife like Christ loved the church and doing all that he can for his wife, you should submit to that man. But see, if everybody, see, that's what I'm saying. People, and that's all of his responsibility. People don't understand that all you got to do is play your position. Play your position. Just play your position. Play your position. I'm going to break down something in sports. You playing baseball. Everybody can't pitch. You got to pitch on the mound. You got somebody at first base. You got somebody in the field. Right? Basketball coach. You got somebody. Everybody ain't running point. Who the floor general? That's running point. Somebody got to go. Somebody got to go down low so you can feed them the ball. You playing football. Hey. I'm the quarterback. Go on. I'm going to hand it off. Everybody not play. Everybody, if you play your position, then things work out. Right? You look at a corporation. You don't have a custodian. The custodian not in the office making business decisions. Why? Because he's the custodian. Play your position. Everybody have a role to play. But then you be like, well, that's just a custodian. It's not big, man. If the custodian, let the custodian not come for 2 months to see the conditions of the place. Play your position. So it says, husband, love your wives even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for. Then it says that he might sanctify and cleanse it with washing of water by the word. That he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. So all men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. So now you're supposed to love your wife as your own body, and you love your wife, you're loving yourself. You're not supposed to be hitting your wife, beating on your wife, mentally, verbally abusive to your wife. That's foolishness. You wouldn't do that to yourself. It said, in verse 29, for no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourisheth it and cherisheth it, even as the Lord the church. For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. For this cause shall a man, going back to the beginning, for this cause shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. They two shall be one flesh. This is a great mystery, but I speak concerning Christ and the church. So if you want insight into the marriage union, look at Christ and his church. Ideally, what is supposed to be taking place. You got one providing for his bride. He made a covenant. You read in Deuteronomy 20, Exodus 24, where he made a covenant. There was a betrothal or a proposal made in Exodus, the 19th chapter. Then they go into a covenant, Exodus the 24th chapter. Right? And he basically said, obey me. And if you think about it, look at what he's doing. Why wouldn't you obey? Right? But you want insight into how it's supposed to be. Look at Christ in his church. It says, nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, even as himself. And the wife see that she reverence her husband. Okay? Reverence. You even see in one place, Sarah called her husband Lord. What? That's what it is. Now, I want to go right into chapter 6 and verse 1, because, again, children have something to do. It said, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor thy father and mother, who are supposed to be married, which is the first commandment with promise. When you read in Exodus 20, when you read the 10 commandments. That your days, honor thy father and thy mother, that days may be long in the land. And said, ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and have a mission of the Lord. So ultimately, brothers and sisters, that's what we're supposed to be doing. And that's a little bit on marriage, the first covenant. With that, I want to remind you that we're at the Household of Faith meet every Sabbath, which is Saturday, at 5925 West 25th Avenue, Gary, Indiana. We invite you to come out and worship with us. And you hear the uncut, unadulterated word of God. If you're not in our area, not in Chicago, not in Northwest Indiana area, you can check us out right here on the Israel Teach YouTube channel. Again, that's 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, or you can go to www.israelteach.org where we live stream our services. I would also like to encourage you, if you've been edified by the ministry, the Household of Faith Ministry, you can make a donation. Just simply go to www.israelteach.org and click on the donate button and make a donation. And with that, brothers and sisters, I hope you have enjoyed the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And it's always my prayer that you will edify.